Every night, your brain stages a private hallucination so vivid you believe it completely. And scientists still argue about why. Every single night, your brain switches off the outside world and builds an entire universe inside your skull. People, places, terror, joy, and you fall for it completely. We spend roughly 6 years of our lives dreaming, yet the smartest neuroscientists alive still can't agree on why. So what's really happening up there? By the end of this, you'll understand the leading theories, the wild experiments behind them, and why the answer might be all of them at once. Dreams aren't random static. They're some of the most intense neural activity your brain ever produces, and they mostly happen during a stage called REM, or rapid eye movement sleep. REM was only formally discovered in 1953 when researcher Eugene Oserinsky, watching his sleeping son, noticed the boy's eyes darting wildly beneath his lids. He and Nathaniel Kleitman at the University of Chicago realized these bursts lined up with vivid dreaming. During REM, your brain's electrical patterns look almost identical to being wide awake, except your body is paralyzed, a safety feature called atonia. You cycle through REM roughly every 90 minutes, with the longest, most cinematic dreams arriving in the hours before you wake. Here's the kicker. We've known dreams exist for all of human history, yet for thousands of years we didn't have a clue what they were for. In 1899, Sigmund Freud published The Interpretation of Dreams and declared them the royal road to the unconscious. He argued that dreams were disguised wishes, secret desires your mind smuggled past your defenses while you slept, dressed up in bizarre symbols. For decades, this idea dominated, spawning a whole industry of dream analysis and couches across Vienna and beyond. The problem? Almost none of it held up to scientific testing. There's no reliable evidence that a snake in your dream means anything Freud claimed, or that dreams hide forbidden wishes from a censor. But Freud got one big thing right that we still respect: that dreams aren't meaningless noise and that they're worth taking seriously. The hunt for a real, testable answer was just getting started, and the next clue came from inside the sleeping brain itself. In 1977, Harvard psychiatrists J. Allen Hobson and Robert McCarley dropped a bombshell called the activation synthesis hypothesis. They proposed that during REM, the brainstem fires off essentially random electrical signals, and the higher brain, desperate to make sense of the chaos, stitches them into a story. In other words, the bizarre plot of your dream is your cortex improvising a narrative around random noise. It explained a lot. Why dreams jump locations, why dead relatives appear casually, why logic dissolves. This directly challenged Freud. Maybe dreams weren't hidden messages at all, just your brain's best attempt to find a pattern. But critics noticed something the theory struggled with. Dreams aren't pure gibberish. They often replay your real worries, your real day, the people you actually care about, which pointed researchers toward a very different idea. Finnish neuroscientist Antti Revonsuo proposed something almost cinematic: the threat simulation theory. He noticed that a huge proportion of dreams involve fear, being chased, falling, or escaping danger, and argued that dreaming is a kind of overnight survival rehearsal. In our ancestral past, a brain that practiced fleeing predators in the safety of sleep might wake up better prepared to survive real ones. Studies of dream content do show negative emotions, and threats appear far more often than pleasant ones, which fits the theory neatly. It also explains those universal nightmares: falling, being chased, losing your teeth, showing up unprepared, that show up in cultures all over the world. But threat rehearsal can't explain the boring dreams, the joyful ones, or the abstract ones about solving problems. And that problem-solving angle turned out to be one of dreaming's most powerful jobs. While you dream, your brain is running maintenance you'd never see during the day. And the evidence here is rock solid. Sleep, especially REM, plays a critical role in consolidating memories, transferring the day's experiences from short-term storage into long-term networks. In a landmark study, researchers at Harvard found that people who napped and dreamed about a maze task they'd learned performed dramatically better afterward than those who didn't dream of it. The leading idea is that dreams may be a byproduct of the brain replaying, sorting, and reweaving information, deciding what to keep and what to discard. This is why pulling an all-nighter to cram so often backfires. You skip the very stage that files the memory away. Some scientists, like Matthew Walker, even argue REM sleep acts like overnight therapy, softening the emotional sting of painful memories while keeping the lesson. So when you dream about someone from your day, your brain may literally be filing them. One of the most Googled dream questions is why we dream about specific people: an ex, a coworker, someone we just met. The honest answer is that it's usually not prophecy or hidden romance. It's memory processing and emotional salience. Your brain tends to weave in whoever or whatever carries emotional weight or recent attention, which is why the people on your mind by day reappear by night. The continuity hypothesis, supported by decades of dream content research by William Domhoff and others, found that dreams largely reflect our waking concerns, relationships, and preoccupations. That's also why stressed people have stressful dreams and why a new worry can hijack your nights. As for the classic falling dream, there's no proven single cause, but one common explanation involves hypnic jerks. Sudden muscle twitches as you drift off that your half-asleep brain spins into a falling story. Which raises the strangest frontier of all. What happens when you realize you're dreaming? Lucid dreaming, being aware you're dreaming while it's happening, sounds like science fiction, but it's been verified in the lab in a remarkable way. Because REM paralyzes the body but not the eyes, researchers asked trained lucid dreamers to signal with deliberate eye movements once they became aware inside a dream. In studies starting in the late 1970s with Keith Hearn and Stephen LaBerge, sleepers did exactly that, sending pre-agreed eye signals from inside a dream while every instrument confirmed they were fully asleep. It was the first time a person communicated in real time from within a dream. Lucid dreaming reveals that consciousness and awareness aren't simply on or off, but can layer in strange in-between states. It's now studied as a possible tool for treating chronic nightmares and PTSD. And it deepens the central mystery. If we can be awake inside our dreams, what exactly is a dream for? So after more than a century of science, here's the honest truth. There is no single agreed answer to why we dream. The most likely reality is that dreaming serves several overlapping purposes at once: consolidating memories, processing emotions, simulating threats, and sometimes just being the brain idling and improvising. What's no longer in doubt is that dreaming matters. People and animals deprived of REM sleep show real cognitive and emotional consequences. So this isn't an evolutionary accident the brain forgot to delete. Modern brain imaging is now letting researchers partially decode dream content from neural activity, something that would have sounded like magic a generation ago. We've gone from interpreting symbols on a couch to reading the sleeping brain's signals directly. Dreaming may be one of the last great mysteries happening inside every one of us, every single night. And the fact that you'll forget about 95% of tonight's dreams within minutes of waking only makes it stranger. So, which theory do you believe? Is your brain rehearsing danger, filing memories, or just telling itself stories? Drop your weirdest recurring dream in the comments and subscribe to Fantastic Facts for more mysteries hiding in plain sight.